times on Yom Kippur and he washes his hands 10 times. OCD? Oh. OCD? Is that what we call it? There are Seifrim who, before they write the Shem, they go to the mikveh. Before every Shem, they go to the mikveh.
Before every time?
Yeah.
I've heard the ones that are in the morning.
Yeah, okay, that's small fry stuff. Okay? Anyways, what is that? What is that? So, there is, the Mishnah Berurah over here makes a statement which I think would say it should be introducing you to an idea subvertly. So I'm going to read the Ramah, and then I'll read the Ramah.
Where are we?
We are Taf Reish Vav Sif Daled. So the Ramah says as as follows: Ve'ein tzarich litfol rak pam achas beloi vidui mishum keri v'hu adin datolos tishakav v'mayim nami mahani. You only have to tovel once. Is there any reason to tovel more than once? Women, the custom, the many women that were custom when they tovel 2 or 3 times. The Taz says the reason why is because we're afraid that perhaps the folds of their body will be tzamud and water can't get in there, so you tovel a few times to make sure that you don't have the chatzitz or choser bias mayim, whatever. It's some technical halachic problem. But really, all that is in English, it's just to make sure you tovel once. In other words, you may be toveling 3 times, but you're only toveling 3 times because if you do it 3 times, maybe you'll work it out once. In other words, there's no inyan in the 3 times. And here we say, just do it once. But now, it's clear that the Ramah understood that there's a reason to do it more than once. And he's saying, and that reason is not applicable. Okay? So, this is what I call, you have to learn how to read the Ramah, right? The Ramah says, don't make a mistake, you only have to do it once. He's not saying don't be OCD, but there are other reasons to tovel as well. Not only that, there are prescribed amounts. There's some people who tovel 10 times, some people who tovel 6 times, some people who tovel 360.
What does it look like when the guy goes the second time? Like the first time he goes into the water, now what does the second time look like? He comes completely out of the water and goes back in?
No, it just has to have his finger out of the water. A person, it's like sheker. 99% emes is 100% sheker, right? So if a person is not totally submerged in the water, so then he's equal to being totally out of the water.
So that means the person can walk completely into the water, stick his hand up 3 times.
Right, and then he did 3. Then he did it 4 times. If he did it 3 times, then he did it 4 times. So my math is impeccable. Yes.
People do that. Is there a need to do that?
A need to do that?
Is there a mile doing that, or are we just going, go up and down like regular?
No, there's absolutely no mile. I will just say that Moshe Sternbuch has a Moed Muzmanim. He asks a fascinating question, and this is for the Lamdonim over here. He says if you hold that Ketafris Chibur, so you say all the water that's on him is inside the mikveh. What?
Especially if you do it really quickly.
Yeah, 1 second.
Still on your finger,
Yeah. So he asks, so why should it work? And he answers, he doesn't say it as I'm saying. This is a really stupid question. He doesn't put that phrase in. And he says that yes, the water may be in the mikveh, but it doesn't put your finger in the mikveh. This is a mistake in math. You understand? It could be that the water is considered because it's cascading down that it's like it's in the mikveh, but how does it get your finger inside the mikveh? It doesn't make the mikveh up here. right? It's just like a fascinating. You get caught up in the flow of things, and you just miss out the forest or the trees. But actually, there is a tefillah of Tosefes Tahira. I have no idea what I just said, but I don't think that I have to explain it because you're now in the same place as I am, and you understand that you could do more. You could do more. So the reason why one goes to the mikveh on Erev Yom Kippur, according to the Ramah, is for a tuma reason, not for a taira reason. It's two different subjects. One can go to the mikveh for tuma, means to get rid of tuma, to remove the tuma. And one can go to the mikveh to get Tosefes Taira. Just for those who want to have a musig in these things, the Arizal writes that going to the mikveh on Friday afternoon is very important for the Tosefes Kedusha of Shabbos, but going to the mikveh Shabbos morning by far outshines the difference of going to mikveh between Friday night and Shabbos morning is by far a greater step up than from the weekdays into Shabbos. Isn't that obvious to you? Anyways,
you're not supposed to go to the mikveh on Shabbos.
Perhaps. Who says you're not supposed to go to the mikveh on Shabbos?
Because of keep getting your body hair wet.
50% of the population are women, and 1 in 7 women go to the mikveh on Shabbos. Is that true? And I'm willing to say that the majority of them have long hair. Long hair means at least as long as yours, right? Just like, right? So that's, so it can't be as black and white as you say. I'll just say on this subject, those who know the history of Yerushalayim, the mikveh for men was locked on Shabbos morning until somebody broke the lock on Shabbos. A whole story about this, because there are those who say that one shouldn't go to the mikveh. And I just happened to tell this to somebody recently, that a friend of mine told me, a friend of mine who's maybe 15 years older than me, he was in the mikveh Mei Sharm on Shabbos morning, and Rabbi Yashiv came in, and he got undressed, and he stuck his toe into the mikveh, and he decided it's too hot, and he got dressed and left. And someone else was standing over there, and he said, I heard from somebody who was the Malava of the Toldos Aaron Rebbe, not the last Toldos Aaron Rebbe, the original Toldos Aaron Rebbe, and he would go to mikveh in Rabbi Yashiv's neighborhood. This just happened to me. He says, and Rabbi Yashiv would be there many times. Rabbi Yashiv went to the mikveh, it seems to me, on Shabbos. There is a great discussion as to what the custom is, but in Isser, it's hard to say that there's an Isser to go to the mikveh. The Mishnah Berurah is very concerned with the Chash Shechita. What you're quoting is a Mishnah Berurah, but to say that it's Isser, I'm willing to say that all Hasidim go to the mikveh on Shabbos. Is that it's quite common. Let's put it that way. It's quite common. All right. Anyways,
the deal could be made from the fact that the Tosfos tuma by a kohen, that even though he's tamei, according to many, he can't be careful not to be tamei again. And here you have a Tosfos kedusha. Is there any relationship?
I don't think so. I enjoy your what you call, but what is it? To what end? There it is every time while he's again being tamei, so it's forbidden even though he doesn't get more tamei. The halacha that he's referring to is that a kohen is already tamei. Kohen lost his father, so he went to the Beis HaKvara, so he's tamei because it's a mitzvah. And then he lost his mother, so he goes to the Beis HaKvara again. But otherwise, he doesn't go to the Beis HaKvara because the kohen's not allowed to become tamei. But he already is, right? So the halacha is that even though he's tamei, he's not allowed to be matamei himself more, even though in theory he's not more tamei. But the act of being matamei himself, that's forbidden. Over here we're talking about that if he has plateaued, right? So how does going to mikveh again? And the answer is that it can bring you to higher heights. Now, as far as the kohen on Yom Kippur, when he's going to do a new segment of avodah, so that new segment of avodah, we could understand could demand. I didn't say it has to be, but we could understand that it demands going to the mikveh again. But this going to the mikveh again is not a Tumah Taira issue. It's a Taira issue. That's the Mishnah Berurah, which says over here that you only have to teva once, he has picked a side of the understanding of what the tefillah on Erev Yom Kippur is. There are others who disagree that there's also the Taira aspect, and therefore you should go more than one time. The Shlosh says to go 36 times. There's all different kinds of shittas. I'm just explaining the what you're reading. You know, why should you have to tell you only have to go one time? It's why would you think otherwise? The answer is there is an otherwise. Okay. Okay. Misha Beis Lameis Ben Rosh Yom Kippur Murch Teletz Over Little Be'erev Yom Kippur, and it's a fascinating halacha. There are many things in Yiddishkeit that are quasi, and sometimes the quasis go to Chumrah, and sometimes the quasis go to Kula. So the halacha is that a person is allowed to wash himself the covered yantif, even though he's an avil. But how important is going to the mikvah on Erev Yom Kippur? This is the question that the Ramah is dealing with over here, and he says you're allowed to. So we're going to read it again inside the whole thing. Misha Meis Lameis Rosh Yom Kippur, Yom Kippurim, Muter Lirchotz V'Litul B'Erev Yom Kippur. Why? The Yom Kippur Mevatel Shiva, and therefore you're allowed to be Reichitz. V'Afal B'Shenagu Shalirchotz Kol Shloishim Tfilas Mitzvah Muter. Is going to the mikvah, if someone says going to the mikvah on Erev Yom Kippur at Tfilas Mitzvah, or just a minig, what does the Ramah call it? Tfilas Mitzvah. So let's see what the Mishnah Berurah has to say about all of this. So the Mishnah Berurah says the Mechaber was short, and he didn't say that there's a minute to go to be Tova and to get Malchus. Vafilu Na'orim Ubesulois. They should go to the mikvah, mikivan shehem b'nei mitzvahs tovlos. Even though generally girls don't go to the mikvah, but this custom of going to the mikvah on Erev Yom Kippur, not only married ladies, but single girls also have this custom. I'll just share with you a piece of my personal life. I was probably married close to 20 years before I knew that my mother went to the mikvah on Erev Yom Kippur. And my sisters went to the mikvah on Erev Yom Kippur. And there's no reason to hide it, right? I mean, there's nothing to do with anything, right? But there's still an aspect of tznius. Anyways, mishum keri v'lochein dai b'pamachas. You're only going for keri, which is a tumah issue. One time is enough. V'gam ein tzarach levidui, because it's not a tshuva. That's the other side of the thing. Okay, the isha that was mashamish, she has to clean herself out, etc. Not get involved in this whole issue. Okay. V'yesh Aimrim da'atama tefillah mishum tshuva. There are those who say that the reason that you go to the mikveh is not just for tumah of lefnei Hashem titaru, that on Yom Kippur you should be tahor. It's for tshuva. Ulefi zeh yesh litpol shalosh pamim, because that's a different subject. V'chein kasu v'rakech v'ayim b'mogen Avrohom daf man desule tefillah mishum keri afil hochi tzach tamid little b'Erev Yom Kippur afil mikvar tavo b'Erev Rosh Hashanah v'lo yikari all keri. Yeah, it's an obligation to do it. Now, I just want to say something which is the poskim bring down, and most people are not aware of this. A woman who goes to the mikveh has to prepare herself to go to the mikveh, and there's all kinds of things that she does to make sure that she doesn't have a chatzitza on her. The Mata Ephraim says that a man on Erev Yom Kippur should make sure that he doesn't have any chatzitzas on him, at least to the best of his ability. That means if you have to cut your nails, you should cut them before, etc. if you have any, you have a bandage, take it off, whatever it is. I'm not going to get right now technically involved, but a person should be aware that this tefillah is for real. It's not like those regular weekday tefillahs of Tefillas Ezra. Okay, Nami Mahami, Vimu Mitztayer B'Tefillah, Upradidin Tisha Kavim. Okay, B'Rosh Yom Kippur, V'hu Adin Afilu Erev Yom Kippur. This halachas muter l'irchotz v'hainu afilu b'chamim. V'chein atfilu muter. You're allowed to go to the mikveh even if it's a hot mikveh. Why? The Yom Kippur Mavata Shiva. So the Dino Kamo Shar Regel Shepoga Bavelis, and it's Mavato the Shiva. Umuter machmazel l'irchotz achar mincha samach chashecha. You're allowed to do it later on in the afternoon. L'das hayesh matirim. V'ayim Magen Avrohom B'Degam Ben Yonenu Ein L'Hokel Rak Shosh Shtayim Kodem Halayla. Afa Pisha Noagu Rotzalem after Gzer Shiva Nizbat LaYedei Yom Kippurim Haylonu Lesser Achitza Utfila Mishum Gzer Shloshim. The minig is that we don't take a shower all of Shloshim. So it's true that the halacha, the sterile halacha is that it's okay, but we Lamaisa are noyig until Shloshim. Al Zatir, it's the Tefillah Zuhi mitzvah. Umach mazeh memele mutter gam rechitza kedei shelo tiyeh chatzitza latfila. Okay. Tefillah mitzvah mutter after enenu chiyuva mikol mokom iser rechitza kol shloshim gam ken ela enu ela minhaga. So there's some kind of a balance over here. What's
I'm just wondering, is it special for Yom Kippur?
it's special for Yom Kippur. It's special for Yom Kippur. On those, there's other heterim for on Erev Yom Tov, but this is the Mishnah Berurah is over here discussing special Yom Kippur, and it's a very important nikuda. So I'm just being machazik this minute of going to the mikvah on Erev Yom Kippur. You should be aware of it, that it's a real deal. Okay. I will just mention that there are those who go to the mikvah before the Sulam Hafsekes, and then they go again to the mikvah after the Sulam Hafsekes. This also has to do with these inyanim over here that we're talking about. Okay. Tzarech lesvadis b'mincha koydem Sulam Hafsekes. This halacha is halacha that Medina de Gemara is very difficult, at least for me, to understand. Why does one say vidui a mincha on Erev Yom Kippur? So everybody knows the reason, except for me. I don't understand the reason. It makes no sense to me. What?
Some kind of chashash.
That the guy may die before Yom Kippur and is going to go into Yom Kippur without vidui. Something doesn't add up. There's something missing in that mathematical equation. Right? You understand the problem?
So we should walk to the mikveh to the drive.
Why shouldn't the person go to the mikveh, say vidui today? Because maybe Yom Kippur, because it's the last tefillah. What's going on? Shimon, you don't look concerned. You should look concerned.
No, Rabbi David Lewin, in his commentary on the Hayadam, he brings a reason for this. I don't remember if it's his reason or not. I think he writes that a person is in such fear of Yom Kippur that it's a special situation, and that fear of the Yom Adin could cause that reaction to
No, that answers a different question. Do you answer the question of why he's afraid he may die?
Yeah, we've done that.
That wasn't the question I asked.
Oh, misunderstood.
I had a different question. I said, so what if he dies? I mean, I don't, please don't quote me on that. But tzarech lesvadas, we'll see. Maybe we'll answer the question. Tzarech lesvadas b'michal koydem suda mafsekes. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Shema irlo davar takola basuda v'yechonek o yitar v'daitoi v'lo yochol lesvadas achar kach. V'yesh pashim shetzarech lesvadas gam achar chilum koydem chashecho v'roi lahachmer kedei azu v'chei nogu bizmanenu shomenu oz pila zaka. So there's some issue of saying vidui before Yom Kippur. That's basically what we said. Mazeh. Right? No, it's whatever the reason is, I don't get it. Right? So I would just my understanding of this is my personal understanding, the question's a mistake. Just like there's a halacha of Taisus Yom Kippur, that a person is mechuyev to take Yom Kippur on early. Erev Yom Kippur is also Yom Kippur Dik. We're not in Yom Kippur. It's not a weekday that abuts Yom Kippur. It's Erev Yom Kippur, so it's in a sense like you're in Yom Kippur without vidui. That's it. It's a different nekuda. What did you say?
With vidui without fasting.
Yeah, Seder. Okay. V'yachar amra, okay. V'yachar amra achar shegam b'tfilah soy, v'shliach zem am b'yom kippurim b'seichat tfilah. Okay. So this is already the halachas of this. Now I'd like to go into, okay. Ve'ein tzarich lefarech hachet, ve'mreitz lefaret reshus b'yodoi. Ve'im misvada b'lachash, nochon lefaret hachet. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Ela k'shiyei mestam chatosi yotzi dei mitzvahs vidui. Harishus b'yodoi. V'hainu v'rikosav achaka v'misvada b'lachash mashma dereisha ayib l'svada b'kol rom. Then you don't have to do farish tachet. V'afar abad dekosav b'agad b'kol rom and the farish tachet. Mashma d'isura nami ika. One should not be mefarish tachet. Hasamari b'chet she'eino meforsim l'rabim. Talk about chet that a person did that people don't know about it. So therefore you shouldn't say it. Just like Averes ben Adam Mechaveroi. And this really needs, perhaps one day I'll remember, I'll give a Shabbos Shuvah Drasha on this subject. It's a fascinating subject. I will just share with you a piece of what called to be a Haredi. I got a phone call from someone in this shul on Sunday who will be nameless, and you'll see why in a minute. And he said, this Shabbos, I don't know what he said. He turned the light on in the bathroom. I forgot what Avera he did b'shoigig by accident. And he said that it says in the Poskim one should take the amount that it cost for a animal that's a korban and give it to tzedakah. He said, I went online and I found out how much it cost. And he wanted to know what to do with the money. So, well, give it to you? Okay. To do the service in the Beis HaMikdash, perhaps, right? Anyways, it's true, it says it everybody, but not everybody really is so serious about that which they do. So I'm just saying, you want to know who it is, it could be the guy sitting next to you right now. I'm not right now discussing who it is, it's not important. But it's important that a person does an Aveira. You'd have to really try to get it off your list. Okay. Okay. Where am I? Chet. When you say the chet out loud, so then you feel bad because you have to admit that what you did wrong. Still called that you're not announcing it because other people don't hear it. Now, just say that the Rashi in the Gemara in Yuma says that in the Beis HaMikdash there are oimdim tzfufim u'mishtachavim ravochim. When was this happening? During the Avodah of the Kohen Gadol, because the Kohen Gadol would say, I don't want to ruin the chazonis of what people listen to, but if you pay attention, what's going on, the Kohen is misvada. And when he is misvada, and the people bow down, they each are supposed to say vidui on their own chet. This is what went on in the Beis HaMikdash. And Rashi, if I'm not mistaken, the Gemara says the reason why the Oimdim Tzfufim u'Mishtachavim Ravochim is because when you bow down and you're misvada on your chet, your neighbor shouldn't hear the chet that you are being misvada on. For exactly this halacha which we're mentioning over here. Okay, so if you want to know what you should be doing when they're saying ay, so you have a new idea.
So Hashem makes the space in order not to should be buyash.
Correct. Okay. Gimel. V'tzarich le'zvadis me'umad. This is extremely important because people they bend over when they say vidui, and many times it hurts. So people lean on something, and they could actually ruin your vidui. If you lean on something with too much weight, it could be already called that you're not standing. So a person should be careful not to put too much weight on something that is using. One can use something to keep your balance, but you shouldn't be using something as a major support.
You just said a moment ago that they would bow when say we do. You're saying that bowing is something different. Don't do it today.
No, I think that's that after they said the words, and that when they said the vidui and then they bowed down, but that was
While they're bowed down,
yeah. I think it was before they bowed down, but they needed to have that room. They're right now in the vidui stage. No, I don't think it's every second it went like this. It was right now at this point when they were in the vidui.
Understanding.
When they're standing, but they're in that mode. They already handed out those mats, right? We're in mat mode, okay? But I think they said it's standing.
You're trying to. Rob was suggesting a moment ago about doing like we might do when during that part of the Chazaras Hashatz.
You'll be thinking about it, but the saying of it should be when you're standing.
At the regular portion.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that a problem with Omdin Svufim? Or that Omdin
Why? What's the problem?
Omdin Svufim means crowded when they're standing.
What's the problem?
So then someone could hear him if he's being Vada.
No, but I think it means not when they're doing the vidui system.
That's not part of the Omdin. That's already part of the Mishnah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's once they have the mats, that's what I think is going on. Okay. Okay. V'tov sheyischek kamo b'moedim v'lo lismoch al shum davar. You shouldn't rest on anything. Shem yinat lo davar yipol. V'im samach tzorch in v'yachzer b'yisvadeh. How important is it to be standing? It's not clear that you're yaitza. And that means that whole segment. Okay. Okay. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Vu izvade kvar milosher masha the dite the kivan shin izvade kvar ba'atzmo in tzarch pam sheni lachzor izvades. You may think that you're yaitz already. Ela lishmoya mishliach tzibor k'shach Chazaras Hashatz. V'ramo b'shem Aram pligi al zeh, and it's related tzarch lachzor izvades. This is called the vidui barabim. V'chei basaka ite v'chei mini bazmeinu v'chei tzarch loymar b'seiser b'goli b'shogig u'b'zozon. Yeah, not bagoli basese like our Malchazarim say. It should be the other way around. Basese bagoli, and Chicago and both of them are going up. The first is a lesser, and the second is a greater avera. That's the way you should do it. Mishum diyesh lahaktim akal lachomer. Matefrei masik dein l'shanas menanusach hakosav v'zidurim. De'ein kedai lohitzi atzum min aklal b'shvil zeh. Fascinating. He says, I assume that most of the people didn't learn the Mishnah Berurah, so they're going to do it like it says in the Machzer, and therefore you should say it like it says in the Machzer. So what seems to me, according to this, that when a person is saying the private vidui, then he should switch it, and when he says the public vidui, he says one way, one he says the other way. The one that you say in your quiet Shemona Esrei, you're not in Matzibur. You're doing a private one. So that one you should say, B'shoigegu v'mezid, and what's the other one that we discussed? B'seiser v'agoli. The Ma'aseh says, B'shmur kol echad lo yishana miminig v'midirasa v'en nadav b'shas videi afilu b'amiras achet. You have to be quiet. V'lochein, ochein, l'anetz kadosh kedusha yeshuz afilu b'emetza shamnu. B'shas videi k'shemas achet. Yaker be'egov ala choze or ala lev. Now, I will just tell you, there's a big machloikis hapoiskim really when you're supposed to hit al chet. There are those who say al chet. Some say al chet shechatonu, and some say when you say the avera. There are three different shitas, but the Mishnah Berurah shita is that you do it when you say the avera. All right. Avalach.
If it says regarding, you lose the minor of the aleph base. Because Golim Misos is part of the Gimel, so if it says regarding, then it's
Here, don't know what to tell you. אבל אנחנו חטאנו והוא הדין שצריך לב וגם כן אבינו פשענו אז שנוגע לו שאר הדברים כי גם מה שאומר לפניך etc. We say all these things, fine. Okay. אבוינו שהסווד עליהם ביום כיפורים שעבר ולא ישנה עליהם. You did tshuva last year. Mr. Shail in the Gemara. Afil hochi yochel lachzor lesvadas aleim. You can say vidui on them the next year. This is Shail in the Gemara. This is called kekelev hashov el kiyoi. That he is going back to his refuse because you should not be hanging in with your averas. Okay. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Avin al mechaver gana begazel kodayim afal bi shemochaloi veishu esagzel mikol makom mezvad yom kippurim lo'olam to mikol makom min olam makom chota. Even though the person may have given you full mechila, the chet min olam makom hasn't necessarily been cleaned 1,000%. Avul hiknit chaver bedvarim or oniam habet b'charara. If you just chepper a person, kiyun shabikish mechila chaver bezvad yom kippurim mechod. Now, what is the difference between these two things? So it seems, and this is in many places, Ben Adam L'Chaveroi usually has with it financial consideration. In other words, if I was just, I stuck my tongue out at you, and you were insulted. How big an avera is that? Now, you may be very insulted. I went at your house, and I stole your gold watch. Are you insulted? You're not insulted. You just would like your gold watch back. Which avera is a bigger avera? So it seems in many places that the avera that doesn't have financial consideration to it is a lesser avera. And I would like to possibly explain this concept because I think it's the exact opposite of what people would think, right? An avera that has financial consideration to it is a physical avera, and a financial that has no financial consideration to it is only talk. Talk is cheap. There's nothing really here. So when we live in the world of reality, so things which are said are not as, Susan's going to help me out with the English, they're not chal as much. Shafar, could you help me?
Sometimes Lashon Hara was a job, but also
so then it has financial consideration.
or even a share or something like that.
Then it moves into the other thing. It causes them financial loss. But let's say, you know what? We're in class, and you cheated. So I tell the teacher, Mr. Binder cheated. She says, I don't like tattletales. I'm not going to be with yaches. Did anything happen? What?
Embarrassing.
Perhaps you cheated Barabim, right? But we're not going to get involved in that right now. But in other words, maybe I wanted to even cause you to, but nothing happened. Nothing happened. So sometimes Lashon Hara does have something happen, then you are mazik him financial. There's a financial consideration. There are, and I'll just share with you this nakuda of financial consideration is fascinating. Perhaps this is worth this whole shir just to have this idea, which I learned this from our shiva many years ago. The Gemara speaks about people backing out of business deals. So sometimes you're locked in, and sometimes you get a mishapara. You get cursed. Maza. Foul languages around, graffiti, maza. And then we have a lower level, which is called Ein Ruach Chachamim Noiche Menu. And then you have Tarumas. It's not the same thing. So, what are these things? What are these are adjectives, or these are proper nouns? What are they? So I'd like to borrow from a different aspect of Choshen Mishpat to give a mashal to explain this. From my favorite mashalim is Kairach doesn't like Moshe Rabbeinu. I don't know if you're aware of this. And Moshe Rabbeinu's cell phone was over here on the table, and it was on vibrate. So Kairach calls Moshe Rabbeinu's phone, and it falls off the table and it breaks. Okay, Moshe Rabbeinu takes Kairach to Beis Din. What does Kairach say? I didn't do anything. Did he do anything? I'm not even sure it's Groma ben Azakin. Groma means a Koyach Sheni, right? This is the word, English word over here, that you caused it may be correct, but it doesn't mean that you are liable. Now the halacha is, let's say we speak about Groma. So the halacha is Groma ben Azakin is potter, but you're chayev midinei shamayim. What in the world does that mean? I don't know what it means. I'll tell you another halacha. The halacha is that even though Groma ben Azakin is potter, but if you're typhus, if the guy who was damaged, right? If he is typhus from the person that was mazik him, Bezin doesn't take the money back, because even though he wasn't chayiv it, but he's chayiv b'dinei shamayim, so we leave it there. What kind of halacha is that? These are strange halachas, right? The answer to the question is that there's a grade. There are and when you say that it's enough, but not enough, these things translate into halachic statements. Now, just my mashal of this, when I was a teenager, from the questions that I had when I learned Baba Kama, I had a question that has no answer to it. The answer to the question is that's the way it is. Okay, and I'm going to share with you the question. There's Idias, Baininus, and Ziburis. You get 50 meters of Idias, 75 meters of Baininus, and 100 meters of Ziburis for $100. Right? We all understand that, right? So they're worth exactly the same, right? How is the price decided? By supply and demand, right? So now it should be, as when we were kids said, it should be equal shmikol, right? The metzius is that it's easier to sell idias than it is to sell ziburis. So when I heard this, I said, so why don't you give more ziburis? He says, no, because it's worth the same thing. So
liquidity difference.
What?
Just increase the value, even out the liquidity difference.
So, but that doesn't make sense. That should translate into financial consideration. But not everything does. Right? In other words, if you have a dira that costs 2.5 million shekel, and the guy says, I want 2,560,000 shekels. Why? Because I put in a new bathroom. You think you can get your investment out? No. It just may make it more desirable. Not every financial consideration increases the value. So there are things which are averis, but not enough to make the grade. So there's a grade of when you are chayiv mammon. There's a grade of when there's a mishapara. There's a grade when there is einu chachamim, and there's a grade which is mutter to have tainus because the guy did something wrong to you. So there's something wrong to you. Why can't I collect? It's not. He didn't do enough wrong that it translates into money. Just a fascinating, simple understanding of really what's going on. This is what Shiva said. So that we're poshut, that's the pshat. So to Averas have different ways that they are assessed. And an Avera which didn't have a financial aspect, if the person was Meichel you, so there is nothing left tainted because it wasn't chal on anything, and that's what the Mishnah Berurah says you don't have to ask Mechila the next year. Okay.